Καλησπέρα σας, καλοί φίλοι τηλεθεατές. Καλώς ορίσατε στην εκπομπή μας Faces, πρόσωπα. Μαζί μου έχω ένα πρόσωπο πολύ γνωστό σε πολλούς από εσάς και σε μένα και θα πάμε να μάθουμε περισσότερα. Είναι η Eve Polycarpou. Καλησπέρα, good evening, how are you?
Γεια σου, Βασίλη.
Είσαι καλά?
Πολύ καλά.
Μπράβο, μπράβο.
Εσύ είσαι καλά?
Είμαι καλά, δόξα τω Θεώ.
Good.
Touch good, χτύπα ξύλο.
Θα τα χτυπήσουμε.
Yeah. Θα μιλήσουμε και στα ελληνικά και αγγλικά. Εκεί που δεν το βρίσκεις στα ελληνικά θα μου τα πεις στα αγγλικά.
Ευχαριστώ.
Εντάξει. Λοιπόν, καλώς όρισες.
Ναι.
It's nice to see you.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yes, it has been a long time,
It
Βασίλη.
has been a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So much has been going on, especially with και με το COVID που μας κλείσανε όλα.
Ακριβώς. Ναι, ήταν difficult days, but you know, we managed.
We did manage to get through.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Θέλω να κάνουμε ένα ταξιδάκι. Back to the days when you were before you born. Okay. Before
I was born.
Yeah. And your parents, they used to live in Brighton, yes?
Yeah, they were originally from. Dad was from Κορφή, which then became Νέα Κορφή after the σεισμό.
Ναι.
And
είναι στη Λεμεσόν,
yeah, just outside of Limassol.
Yeah.
And Mum was from Κακοπετριά.
Κακοπετριά?
Yeah.
I was in Κακοπετριά recently. It's a beautiful place.
It's
Beautiful, yes.
One of my favorite places in the world, Βασίλη.
So,
whenever I go there, I feel κάτι νιώθω το...
δικό σου.
Ναι. Και όταν πηγαίνω στην Παλιά Κορφή, επειδή είναι η εκκλησία εκεί πέρα που ήταν το μόνο πράγμα που έμεινε.
Ναι.
Μετά το σεισμό, πηγαίνω εκεί πέρα και ανάβω κερί. Και για τους γονείς μου και για την οικογένεια μου, για αυτούς που έχω χάσει, όλους τους αγαπημένους μου.
Ναι. Μπορώ να πω ότι τα ελληνικά σου είναι καλύτερα από του Πίτερ. Ποιος γεννήθηκε πρώτος, εσύ?
Εγώ είμαι πιο μεγάλη.
Είσαι μεγάλη?
Πρέπει να με σέβεται.
Και μετά τα αδέρφια,
μετά ο Κρίς.
Ο Κρίς και μετά ο Πίτερ.
Όχι, ο Πίτερ μετά από μένα και ο Κρίς είναι ο πιο
μικρός ο Κρίς.
Ναι.
Οι γονείς σου τι έκαναν στο Brighton? Δεν ήταν μες στα ρούχα, ήταν στα ρούχα?
Όχι τότε. Well, η μαμά μου, γνωριστήκανε στο Brighton οι γονείς μου. Γνωριστήκανε και αγαπηθήκανε και ήρθα εγώ.
Πριν παντρευτούν?
Ναι.
Δηλαδή γεννήθηκες πριν να παντρευτούν?
Αυτά δεν τα μιλούμε, αλλά τα ξέρει ο κόσμος. Ναι. Και λοιπόν, ο παπάς μου ήταν στο επάγγελμα του hospitality.
Ναι.
And η μάμα μου δούλευε σε factory.
Ρούχα, ναι.
Ναι. Anyway, μετά από λίγο καιρό, επειδή εμενήσκανε στο σπίτι του παππού μου και στη γιαγιά μου στο Brighton, δεν ξέρω τι σου είπε ο Πίτερ, επειδή ξέρω ότι έχεις μιλήσει και με τον αδερφό μου.
Ναι, έχω μιλήσει, μου είπε άλλα πράγματα ο Πίτερ.
Δεν μιλήσατε για τα νέα.
Τα οικογενειακά, όχι.
Τα νέα. Ναι. Έχω κάνει έναν ντοκιμεντρία στην Αγγλία, δεν ξέρω αν το είδατε πριν χρόνια. Και ήταν για τον καιρό που ήμουν στο Children's Home, στο Brighton. Και αυτό ήταν πάνω σε ένα ντοκιμεντρία και μίλησε και ο παπάς μου και εγώ και τραγουδίσα και με τη Μάρθα σε αυτό as well.
Ναι.
And so, η ιστορία μας τότε, όπως σου λέω, παιδιά, γεννήθηκα στο Brighton. Ήμουνα σε ένα children's home για μερικά χρόνια και ήρθαν και ο Πίτερ σε αυτό. Αλλά οι γονείς μου, they managed to get a little bit of money together, πιάσανε λίγα λεφτά μαζί και ήρθαν στο Λονδίνο να ανοίξουν κάτι, να κάνουν κάτι.
Και κάνανε το factory.
Ναι, πιάσανε μια μηχανή. One machine, sewing machine, and that's how they started, Βασίλη. That's how they started, and σιγά σιγά they earned enough money, and then they bought a house, and they εδώ κοντά στο Hellenic TV, στο Palmer Screen, and, και ήρθαν να μας πάρουνε και μας
φέραν κάτω.
Να μας φέρουν εδώ στο
και μετά γεννήθηκε ο Chris.
Μετά γεννήθηκε ο Chris, ναι. Ο Chris είναι 10 χρόνια πιο νέος από μένα.
Από σένα, ναι.
So, ήμουν 7 χρονών που ήρθα στο Λονδίνο. Anyway, και
έκανες το σχολείο εδώ και πήγες
junior school εδώ πέρα.
Junior school and secondary school and all this.
Junior school and senior school and ναι, και αυτό ήταν καλογρίες πάλι εδώ κοντά στο Palmer Screen. Και εκεί έκανα τα exams μου, ξέρω εγώ, τα O-levels μου, τα λοιπά. Και μετά πήγα στο Southgate Technical College και έκανα τα A-levels μου. Και μετά πήγα στο New College School of Speech and Drama για να σπουδάσω μουσική και δράμα και για να γίνω δασκάλα.
Teaching course.
Well, μόνο με αυτό με επιτρέψανε να πάω.
Οι γονείς σου, ναι.
Because it was a teacher training college.
Exactly, yes.
I was allowed to go.
Yeah.
But in my heart, I always knew that I wanted to perform, you know. But it was good for me to go to the teacher training college because έμαθα πάρα πολλά πράγματα και με βοήθησε τον καιρό, επειδή αυτό το επάγγελμα, όπως ξέρεις και εσύ, δεν είσαι μέσα σε δουλειά κάθε μέρα.
Όχι, ναι. Σήμερα δουλεύεις, κάτσεις 6 μήνες και μετά.
So είχα και το teaching work μου.
Which helped you to, yeah.
And Peter as well, he's a lovely teacher, he's a fantastic teacher and workshop leader. And so
he's a drama teacher as well as
and workshop teacher, and I was teaching drama and music to children, and I loved it. I really loved it, as well as being on stage. So it was lovely to be able to have that work. Όταν είχα τις δουλειές πάνω στο stage.
No. Tell me about new faces. New faces. Νέα πρόσωπα.
Νέα πρόσωπα. So while I was studying at the college, at New College, I was also singing σε έναν κέντρο, and this lovely Jewish couple who used to come there often, and he used to play congas when he wasn't being an architect, and his wife Helen used to come, and beautiful, beautiful people, sadly both passed now. And Helen loved my voice so much, and she introduced me to somebody called Raymond, and Raymond and Helen decided they would manage me if my parents were approved, and so they became Helen Ray Management, and I became Eve Adam, because τότε Polycarpou was too difficult for everybody.
And you become Eve Adam, yes.
So I became Eve Adam, yeah.
And you sang at this show, and
well, they managed to get me onto New Faces. New Faces was όπως το ίδιο πράγμα με το X Factor τώρα, με το Pop Idol, με το Britain's Got Talent. It was a talent show.
Yeah.
There were only 2 talent shows in England at the time: Opportunity Knocks and New Faces. And New Faces was on
ITV. ATV, yes.
And I so I ended up doing New Faces, and I kept winning the judges, the viewers panel.
Yeah.
The judges liked me too, but the viewers panel kept voting me their
and you stay there for quite a few.
Well, I was on it 5 times.
Yeah.
And
I remember. That's why I'm asking you. I was young then. And I was watching this because I'm, being actor and entertainer. I was so excited to see, a Cypriot girl doing this, you know what I mean?
Well, and Martha used to watch it, and that's what was so funny. When we met years later, she said, "Oh, I used to watch you on New Faces," when she was a kid, and because I'm a little bit older than her, and when we connected and did what we did, it was all because of our history and our stories and everything. But with New Faces, what happened was I became known as an international cabaret singer artist. And so I was doing shows all over the world, and I was doing shows with people like Max Bygraves and Bruce Forsyth, and lots of people that.
It was then when you start becoming famous and all this, you know, all over the world, yes. Yes.
That's what I was doing, yeah. So I would do the first half as their guest, and then they would do the second half.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that for about 6 years in that way, and also going abroad to...
Was it in 1975, 76?
1976 was the gala final that I was on, yeah. And that was the one, and I ended up becoming... I was third in the gala final, and there was a comedian... As a ventriloquist called, oh my God, my head's gone blank.
Who won it? Yes. Yeah, I remember.
And Jim Davidson came second. He was the comedian.
He was a very good comedian as well.
Yeah, he was, but he wasn't a particularly pleasant person. And there's loads of things have been written about him since. But anyway, I won't go into that. But the point is that, that's what I did. And I was a point behind Jim Davidson. And that's how my career started. That's how it kicked off. And you know, it was a big thing then because people used to send their votes by postcard. Δεν είχαμε τα computers, δεν είχαμε τα mobile phones.
Very different.
Ο κόσμος τα γραφέ αυτόν που θέλανε. Το γραφέ και they would send it at the end of the show because the shows were live. And then you'd know, you know, not very long before that you were going to be back the next week or the week after or whatever. So
when did you met Martha and how it comes
that was quite a while later, Vasily, because from there from New Faces and becoming a singer, I also was offered some acting roles, and so I did some television and some theatre, and I worked at the National and played some lead parts there, and
I saw you at the National Theatre with, you know, this play was written by a Cypriot.
Was this recently?
Yeah, recently.
Oh, that was when I came back this time round.
Okay.
Because then I did quite a few things. And I worked with people like Michael Gambon. I was working opposite him because the woman who was playing that part, I was understudying some parts, and she had she wasn't well, and I ended up being on stage with him in a two-hander scenes for 21 shows, and it was the most amazing piece. And watching him, I learnt so much. And I worked with some incredible people there all those years ago, and worked with Tim Curry in Threepenny Opera, played Jenny Diver, his chief prostitute. And so that was my first musical, but it wasn't really a musical. It was more like it was Brecht. So Brecht is very... And Brecht and Weil is very Sprechstimme, you know, speak song, they call it. So that was incredible. And you know, before that, the only thing I'd done was Godspell in Leicester, and that was the very first musical I ever did. So I went from, you know, kind of the cabaret side to the stage
the theater
side,
and then to the musicals,
and
then tour with you know, Martha as well.
Well, then I went and worked. I was out of work at one point, and I was working at Uncle Lefteri's restaurant in Imitos in Swiss Cottage.
You were singing there.
I was singing. And because whenever I got there, anyway, he would say, "Έλα τραγούδι σε μας, κάνε τραγούδι." And so then he said, "Oh, άφησε να δουλέψει δάμε, έκανα." So I was singing there, and Martha came along to take over what I was doing because I was offered another part for something. And that's it. We became great friends. We realized we loved the same Greek songs, not just Greek songs, but English songs. And we just loved singing together. And Martha is just one of the best persons musically that I've ever had the blessing to work with, because her ear is amazing. So her sense of harmony, amessos το βρίσκει. Amessos, you know.
And you record some songs with
we've done albums together. We've done a few albums now, Martha and I. And I mean, we started Doner and Kebab before we started doing albums. And the whole Doner and Kebab thing ήταν από το our experiences as young Cypriot women growing up in this country, British-born Cypriots.
And you were doing comedy in between songs, yeah?
Yeah, and so the characters ήταν αυτός τον κόσμο που ξέρουμε.
Ξέρατε από την παροικία,
την οικογένεια μας, από την παροικία μας. And
you still doing this in between songs, yeah?
Well, what we
when
do,
you're doing tour. And,
no, we haven't worked together as Doner and Kebab for a long time. So we started to call ourselves Martha and Eve, but we'd still have fun, always fun. Whenever we work together, we always have fun. But then we had our individual careers, and Martha's gone off and she's made albums herself, amazing albums, and won awards. And I've been doing my acting work, and fortunately have been nominated for a Best Actress award in Manchester, and also for something I did in London for a show called In the Heights, a Best Off West End award, Offie they call it. And so we've been doing our individual things, and
as well as
and then every now and then we'd come together and say, well, are you busy over Christmas? Let's see if we can do something. So that's what we would do. But what happened recently, after all these years, was so many people were saying, because Doner and Kebab was very successful at the time, we had no idea.
They've been asking you to
to do it again. And we had no idea, Vasily, that so many people would be interested in the show. We just put something on. I'd written some music for a play at the Gate Theatre in Notting Hill, and a very dear friend of mine was going to be going up to Manchester to do a show, a TV thing, and so they were going to go dark one day. Dark means that they were going to have to close, but this friend said, why don't you and Martha sing some of your Greek songs and tell some of your stories that you told us the other night when we were all together? And about weddings and things like that. And I said, oh darling, I don't know. And then she said, go on, it would be fun. So we said, okay, all right, and why don't we? So we literally had 2 weeks to prepare something, and we did something for the first time at the Gate Theatre, and we just invited all our friends, and so many people loved it, and it was all very ad lib, improvised, what we were doing, and the songs were just acoustic, with the guitars and Martha playing some percussion, and then these friends who I'd written the music for the play, Lady from the Sea by Ibsen, said, why don't you take it up to Edinburgh, try it out?
And you did?
And we did all those years ago, Vasily, and then we ended up going back to Edinburgh a few times, and we were selling out, Vasily, and we did the Shaw Theatre, and people were queuing up round the corner, and the Bloomsbury Theatre in London, and all round England we were doing things, and abroad, and we went to places like Syria and everything, and various other places around the world. And
you're doing some Greek songs at the same time?
Always, because the whole point of our show was the pride, if you like, in our background. Even with all the things that we talked about that were difficult for us, as Greek women playing instruments, i.e. people accepting us, and all of that, all of our choices that we made as performers, but at the same time, so much pride and love for our culture as well. So we are blessed to have the two cultures, and that's what we always wanted to bring into Doner and Kebab. And
this is what you do with your shows. I mean, two cultures together.
So so when we brought it to Edinburgh recently, what happened was Athena,
Athena Mantis. She's the director.
She's wonderful. She wants to make a documentary and is making a documentary
about you and
Martha and I, about the story of us, really,
about Doner and Kebab
and the creation of Doner and Kebab and us, so. But we also wanted to do our show again because so many people said, you're going to do Doner and Kebab again. And we thought, okay, we're not the Doner and Kebab we were. This is different now. We're older women. So we have to tell it from an older...
You are like heroes now.
Gyros.
Gyros, you know, gyros is...
Αυτό που χωράζεις στο τόνο κραπ.
Ναι.
Okay.
You did a couple of shows at Theatrotechnis.
Yeah, so
now, I miss you because I was doing something else.
So, well, what happened was, Vasily, we thought, okay, if we're going to go to Edinburgh, let's go to the Gilded Balloon. That's where we decided to go. And fortunately, Karen really wanted us to come. She runs the Gilded Balloon. And from all those years ago, because she really liked our work then. And so we organised a 10-night run at the Gilded Balloon. And then we thought, okay, it would be lovely. And we spoke to Kerry, who runs Theatrotechnis now, who's such a lovely guy. And I worked with him alongside him at Stratford East.
Yes, yes.
And I've done pantomime there and plays there and so on. And he really loves what Martha and I do. So we said, look, why don't we preview it here?
Yeah.
And he thought that was a really good idea. And so we did 2 nights at Theatrotechnis, and it was completely packed.
Yeah, that's why.
And we walked on stage, Vasily, and the whole audience stood up.
Yeah.
Before we even opened our mouths.
I know, because they know you. Yes.
Well, just because they some of them were there years ago, and it was like, I guess it's their history, it's our history, and we share that journey. And so it was it was amazing, and they gave us a big buzz to take to Edinburgh, and we did 10 nights, and we had even though it wasn't very big audiences, because Edinburgh there's 4,000 shows on.
4,000 shows
during the festival. It's ridiculous. And because there were so many things going on, it was it's hard for people to choose. But fortunately, there were people who came, and the people who did come wrote some brilliant reviews. And we had a lovely review from Claire Balding, who saw us actually at Theatrotechnis. She's the sports presenter. And that held us.
She was there, yes. Yeah. I saw a picture of her.
Yeah, and that held us in good stead, what she wrote, and also what she said was that it so crosses all the she totally understood it. Even though the characters might be Greek characters or Cypriot characters, the stories that we were telling within the show, she understood, and that was fantastic.
Yeah. You prefer acting, theater instead of music? Or?
It's a good question, because I love both.
Yeah.
I think I couldn't live without music.
You can't live?
No, I don't think so, because I sit at home, I play the guitar, I write music, I write songs. All the
time,
Yeah. I don't get up and do speeches at home.
I know.
but I do love the theatre. I love live audiences. I love the feeling that you get, the buzz that you get from an audience. And I mentioned Syria to you, with Martha and I, and I was talking to lovely Pedro, who's writing the book.
Yeah.
And I was telling him, because he asked, what is the most simatiko time for you, and
important,
most meaningful time, and I for me, one of the most moving moments was when Martha and I were in Syria, and we were doing our show, 2 women on stage with an audience full of men on one side and women on the other side with a hijab.
Yes.
And there we were with our guitars, and Martha with her percussion.
Yes.
Yeah. And there was a lovely man who was playing oud on a couple of songs, who was from Syria, and he was guesting on a couple of shows with us. He was so lovely. And anyway, we sang a song that we'd written, one of the very first songs that we ever wrote, and one of the first songs that we ever did in Edinburgh, called Stay One More Day. And I
remember that song, yes.
And you've played it for us many times, thank you, Vasily.
Yeah.
And we played it that night, and we asked the audience to join in. And the men and the women started singing together. And they started singing together, and they started harmonizing because we taught them a harmony.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most moving things in my entire thing because of the whole culture and the fact that we were two women up there playing instruments in front of them and looking the way we do because we could be Arabic, let's face it. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Us Cypriots, you know, we cross over so many kind of cultural kind of looks. And so their reaction was just, and then they started to wave their matches and lighters, and they all stood up and they were lighting their light. It was just, it made me cry.
Yes,
Vasily.
yes.
It was so amazing.
Do you have anything like a video to show about from this? Or
not that, but we might have one or two things I can try and find for you to play for us. Put a little bit on, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. We're going to show something at the end.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, which Greek song is your favorite? I know you sing in Greek songs and always, you know, which is your favorite song, Greek song?
Oh, that's a good question because there are so many. I love Greek music.
And you sing in the Cypriot songs as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And we write songs in Greek as well. And we look at the lyrics sometimes with somebody who is obviously
better in Greek.
Well,
yes.
but might have the better Greek words, absolutely. But we have written a lot of Greek songs together. I mean, I think the thing is that it depends what mood I'm in. You know, this question it depends, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just sing songs that come into my head.
The reason I'm asking you...
You heard me earlier, I think.
The reason I'm asking you because I want you to sing a cappella something for me, for our audience.
You know, Vasily,
come on, anything.
It's interesting because there's three songs that come to my head right now.
Yeah.
One is Dovuno, and you know, and θα ανέβω και θα τραγουδήσω στο πιο ψηλότερο βουνό.
Marinella and others.
And exactly, and then with my dad before he died. 2 weeks before he died, we were sitting in the garden, and it was Father's Day, and I love my dad and my mum so much. They're both passed now, and music was a big thing in our family, and I took the guitar and we started to sing. Είναι μεγάλος ο γυαλός, είναι μακρύ το κύμα, είναι μεγάλος ο καημός, είναι πικρό το κρίμα.
Bravo.
And Dad was singing, and my brother Peter was there, and my brother Chris, and we were all sitting around the table, and my mum, bless her heart, and Dad started to
dance.
Yeah, and that is, I'm so happy that one of my brothers recorded that. They filmed it.
Okay.
So it's on my Facebook page, and my dad singing and dancing is one of the most beautiful things.
Yes.
He taught me how to dance. You know, he taught me some lovely figures and things, and I used to do the Zembekiko with him, and I loved it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So those two songs, and then latterly I did a play, the one you mentioned, Sunset at Villa Thalia, it was called.
Yes, I watched that. Yes.
At the National.
Yeah.
And for that play, I was playing this little Greek woman, and it's the first time that they've ever had a Greek character
speaking in Greek speaking in Greek
at the National Theatre in England, in London. And And that was an amazing honor.
Έκαμνες τη γιαγιά.
Έπαιζα τη γιαγιά, but the character was very important because it was all about her story, and then you see her, and she only talks in Greek.
Yeah.
And when I met Alexi K. Campbell, who wrote it, who's a lovely writer.
Cypriot,
Yeah. Well, he's half Greek from Greece,
Is it?
Yeah,
From Greece, yes, and they have English.
Yeah, exactly. And but his Greek is excellent. Anyway, he really wanted me to play the part, and so I while we were there, we did some music for it as well, and so I learnt these amazing songs with Christo, the actor. He's a lovely guy.
Christos Carlo.
Yes, exactly.
He's a friend of mine.
He's lovely.
He's a nice guy.
And Glikeria, who played my granddaughter in it, and she's from Greece as well. So we learnt these songs together, and one of them was a lovely song, and I learnt it on the guitar, and because I just love the chords, and I love it's in what we call 5/4. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1, which is such a beautiful rhythm. I love it, and that's what I mean. That's one of the things I love about our music are the different rhythms. So that's 5/4, what we call 5/4, and the song that I learnt was. Κάθε πρωί που κοίναγα να πάω στη δουλειά, φεύγανε σαν πουλιά τα ψαροκαϊκά. Κάθε πρωί σκλαρώναμε μαζί με το μηνά, ταξίδια μακρινά ως τη Τζαμαϊκά. Και αρμενίζαμε στα πέλαγα, αγάπη μου παλιά. Κι ύστερα το βράδακι μεθυσμένα κι στα καπηλιά, σε πίνα κοριτσάκι σαν το κρασάκι γουλιά γουλιά. Κι ύστερα το βράδακι μεθυσμένα κι στα καπηλιά, σε πίνα κοριτσάκι σαν το κρασάκι γουλιά γουλιά. Isn't that a beautiful song?
Beautiful song.
Such an amazing song.
Because we are running out of time, can you tell me about your future plans? Do you have any future plans?
Yeah, well, all being well, Martha and I are planning to do a full-length version of the show that we took to Edinburgh, which is the reason why we went to Edinburgh. They were more like previews for us to get the show together and look at what needs to be addressed and so on. So all being well, a full-length show next year. And we will definitely keep you posted about that.
Yes.
And I'm also doing my album, which is
new album.
A lot of songs that I've written, which Martha's helping with the production on that, and a lovely guy called Davide Mantovani, who's Italian, is a wonderful bass player, and a lovely guy called Stephen Fletcher, who I've worked with a lot, Stephen D. Fletcher, and Stevie is a lovely keyboard player, and he's a great singer in his own right. So the four of us together have put down right next door to Hellenic TV.
Here.
We've already laid down the backing tracks. So we've got more to add, and but I can't believe you're right next door.
Yes.
When I pulled up, I thought, oh my God, how amazing! Wow, but this particular area is so special to me because
your father and mother,
Mum and Dad used to have a factory here, literally round the corner, and. Oh dear, and I love the Caramel round the corner too, and I've performed there many times on my own and with Martha, and Martha's performed there too, and it's it's a great venue, and it's a very mixed venue culturally, which I really love.
Various cultures.
Very fantastic, and so those are the main things. And I've also been asked to do a play next year as well.
You are, good. I'm looking forward to see you on stage again, and looking forward to listen to your new music.
Thank you, Vasily.
And
it's been a pleasure talking with you. I hope I haven't spoken too much.
Pleasure is mine, no. And we meet again when you are ready for your new show, so we can talk about details on this country.
That would be lovely to be here with Martha too.
Beautiful, yes. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. And
all
George,
the best.
Your lovely cameraman. Thank you, George.
He's a nice man, George.
Yes, George.
Λοιπόν, κάπου εδώ σας ευχαριστούμε και εσάς, καλοί φίλοι τηλεθεατές. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Να σας πω ότι εμείς, εγώ και εσείς, θα είμαστε μαζί την ερχόμενη Κυριακή με ένα καινούργιο πρόσωπο ή πρόσωπα. Να είστε καλά, σας αγαπώ πολύ. Καλή νύχτα σας.
Not in a million years did I think I'd laugh so hard again. Not in a million years did I dream time could be a friend. Now I ask myself, how far do I look before I can really see? Now I ask myself, why did it take so long for me to feel so free?